Mr. Chair.
Tim McIndoe.
I move that the question be now put.
I'll order. I will hear David Shearer, but can I remind members we're on clauses 1 and 2, which is title and commencement. You must bring those into the debate.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
David Shearer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I wanted to start on the commencement because, as has been pointed out by a number of the speakers tonight, I mean, this bill was first brought into the House in 2008, and in 2011, now 3 years later, it's certainly our wish that the bill passes as quickly as possible, gets through to its third reading, and is able to move into law before Parliament lifts. And the interjection of Mr. Hyde there just makes me reflect on the fact that in this House tonight there are a number of people we won't be seeing after that time. In fact, Mr. Locke, Mr. Hyde, Mr. Hodgson, Mr. Power, Mr. Henry, Mr. Hanari at 40 was. And the House will be a sadder place for them not being here, Mr. Chair. You don't have to worry about wherever you go, Mr. Hyde. Yeah, so let's get on to the bill. This bill, and just referring to this is the Trademarks, International Treaties and Enforcement Amendment Bill. And as has been said, this bill is a more of an omnibus bill that will amend both the Trademarks Act 2002 and the Copyright Act of 1994. And these two pieces of legislation are, as has been again said during the course of the debate, extremely important for New Zealand. The idea of us protecting our intellectual property is something that perhaps we don't take as seriously as we possibly could. I'm thinking about trademarks, and somebody mentioned Adidas, but we can quite easily also mention the Canterbury clothing range, Kathmandu clothing range, for example. These are all New Zealand products which could be copied or changed or in some ways, but they are certainly identifiable as New Zealand products. So protecting those and making sure that they are the cheaper rip-offs or rip-offs that don't involve a lot of the research that went into behind them, the marketing, but just just use the symbol or the actual product itself. Without all of that investment into a product is unfair. I mean, it certainly disadvantages those designers, those manufacturers who have put that effort in. So this bill, Mr. Chair, will also gives effect to the government's decisions to accede to the Madrid Protocol relating to the Madrid Agreement, the Madrid Protocol. It enables us to accede to the Nice Agreement concerning the international classifications of goods and services for the purposes of registration of marks, which is the Nice Agreement. And as we said before, it will give us the ability to sit with the Nice classification, which is updated on a 5-yearly cycle, and parties to the Nice Agreement and consider amendments to it that will be advantageous to our manufacturers and our businesses here in New Zealand. And finally, it ratifies the Singapore Treaty on the Law of Trademarks, which, as was mentioned earlier in the debate, enables it aims to make the national trademark registration systems much more user-friendly and reduce business compliance costs for trademark owners. And that's obviously not as important for our businesses, but it's also important for those out there that are who possibly may be tempted to flout the law of both copyright and trademarks and try and produce goods that are going to infringe that. That enables them to at least understand exactly their position under law. So it would also, as I was mentioned before in part 2, it'll empower the three agencies that are relating to this bill, which is the Ministry of Economic Development, the Ministry, and the Customs and Police as well.
I move that the question be now put.
The question is that the question be now put. Those of that opinion. Point of order, the Honourable Pete Hodson.
Chairman, I just would like to point out that clauses 1 and 2, which are the conclusion of the committee stages of a debate, are often wide-ranging. And it is a surprise to me that the Chairman has...
I know what the member is saying. I have listened intently. There have been more calls on clauses 1 and 2 than on part 2. I did bring to the House's attention that while this is a peroration, tying in that a title and commencement must be mentioned, because in previous speeches it hadn't been mentioned, and I have felt that at this stage that we have run the course of time and there's no new material, and I've accepted the closure motion. Well, if the member is trifling with my decision, Honourable Pete Hodson.
Mr. Chairman, I seek leave to give a contribution no longer than 5 minutes, strictly around matters to do with commencement.
Leave is sought for that purpose. Is there any objection? There is no objection. No, I'm sorry, I've ruled no objection. Pete Hodson.
I'd like to thank the House. I'd like to thank the House indeed. There's objection.
Sorry, I'll put it again. My apologies. My apologies. Leave is sought for the Honourable Pete Hodson to speak briefly on the commencement. No more than 5 minutes. Leave is sought for that purpose. Is there any objection? Yes, there is objection. The question is that the question be now put. Those of that opinion will say aye. Contrary, no. The ayes have it. Members, the question now is that clause 1 stand part. Those of that opinion will say aye. Contrary, no. The ayes have it. We now move to clause 2, and we have an amendment in the name of the Minister to SOP number 83. The question is that the Minister's amendments be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. The question now is that clause 2 as amended stand part. Those of that opinion will say aye. Contrary, no. The ayes have it.
Mr. Chairman, I move supplementary order paper number 85, dividing the bill.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. Contrary, no. The ayes have it. I will report this bill with amendment and so divided.
The House has resumed. Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Speaker, the committee has considered the Trademarks International Treaties and Enforcement Amendment Bill and reports it with amendment and divided into the following bills: Trademarks Amendment Bill, Copyright Amendment Bill number 2. Mr. Speaker, I move that the report be adopted.
The question is that the report be adopted. Those of that opinion will say aye. Contrary, no. The ayes have it. These bills are set down for committee stage next sitting day. For third reading. My apologies. These bills are set down for third reading next sitting day. So we now call on Government Order of the Day number